Hindi lingid sa kaalaman ng lahat na ang Earth ay nagkakonsist ng 75% water. However, approximately 1% lang nito ang consumable. The rest of the 75% are fresh water and ice. Through the water cycle, every droplet or moist is distributed around the planet, albeit unevenly due to geographic factors. We know that the cycle includes the processes of evaporation, condensation, and precipitation, but the water cycle also concerns itself with the flow of water underground and on the surfaces of the earth through the processes of percolation and evapotranspiration. Any disruption or unusual change in these patterns would affect the complexity of the cycle. For instance, climate change has disturbed the temperature around the planet at a very alarming rate. And a temperature change would also mean changes in the water cycle. As a consequence, different regions in the world would experience either an excess or a lack of water supply. It also affects four important elements of life, which are biodiversity, food security, human health, and water quality. First, let us talk about the changes that an alteration can bring to the biodiversity. The increase in the temperature results in frequent evaporation in the cycle. This also means that the water would take a longer time to condense, thus carrying more water to precipitate. As a result, heavier rainfalls and stronger typhoons would devastate the earth. In terms of absorption of water underground, factors such as deforestation increase the chances of flooding. This natural disaster poses threat to the human lives and other organisms. Apart from excess runoff, high temperature also causes extreme dry conditions. According to the Center for Climate Change and Health in 2016, extreme heat increases the risk of wildfires. Wildfires then pose a threat to several animal populations and tree species. The smoke emitted from the wildfire also causes mild to alarming respiratory diseases in humans. Moving forward to food security, rainforest adds water to the atmosphere through the process of respiration. When deforestation occurs, the release of water back into the atmosphere is disrupted, thus resulting in hot or dry climates and reduced rainfall. Food production needs water to grow crops and livestock. When water is scarce, soil dries up and debilitates in sustaining different microbial, plant, or animal life. The hot or dry climate also decreases yields and crop sustainability. Similarly, water is significant in livestock production. Animals may suffer stress or dehydration from inadequate water supply. Livestock diseases are also often linked to temperature increase and precipitation variation. Animal morbidity and mortality increase with extreme temperature changes. The alteration of the water cycle can also affect human health. It can cause severe and long drought in several places in the world. And to address this issue, communities resort to groundwater supply, which came from the percolation of rainfall. However, the cleanliness of the water is not guaranteed. According to the Center for Climate Change and Health, hygiene and sanitation are also compromised due to the lack of water supply. These conditions might expose people to several health risks. Products of an altered water cycle, such as flash floods and heavy rainfalls, can threaten human life. Injuries, infections, poisoning, or even death can happen during or after a flood. Heavy rainfall is also a factor that can increase the prevalence of waterborne disease outbreaks. And last, but definitely not the least, is the effect of alteration on the water quality. The accelerated nitrogen and phosphorus cycle, combined with the warming climate, worsens the widespread freshwater and marine eutrophication. The overabundance of nitrogen and phosphorus in water, or the eutrophication, causes harmful algal blooms, dead zones, and fish kills, resulting in degraded water quality. As the algae decomposes, it produces carbon dioxide. And increasing levels of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere can cause the ocean to absorb more carbon dioxide and acidify. Now the question is, as students, what can we do to alleviate these problems? As students who have little to no resources and machinery to create macro solutions, conducting research is one of our most plausible contributions in this matter. We can look for and spread information regarding realistic alternatives and more sustainable ways of consuming and preserving water. The dissemination of information to minimize man's carbon footprint, which contributes to the alteration of the water cycle, could go a long way. Again, we are the scientists, and in this slide you can see the references that we used in order to convey the information about the water cycle. Thank you very much for listening to our presentation.